Hello, hello, and welcome. Welcome to another round. We are here back today to talk about the Best Man final chapters. And I hope you guys can hear me already. We make sure we get it right this time. You know, come on in. Listen, spoilers ahead. I have watched all 8 episodes now, so spoilers are ahead. If you have not, please, you might not want to listen to it all, but you are more than welcome to stay, get as much as you want. I promise I won't go into too much detail, but it will be details in there. We will be talking about all 8 episodes, and not technically individual. I've been rounded up as a whole, so don't worry. Okay, trust me. Even if with these spoiler, you still need to see the show. Okay, if you haven't did yourself that favor, please join over to Peacock, watch all 8 episodes. They are live streaming now. Catch up on The Best Man and The Best Man Holiday. They are all streaming on Peacock right now. And no, I'm not paid by them. I'm just advertising it because this show is really, really good. I love it. It's very special to me. In the last video that I did, I had taken it down because y'all couldn't hear me for the first 15 minutes, but I was explaining how and why that show was so special to me. In 1999 is, of course, the year I had my daughter, but also that year I was on set with Sanaa Lathan for her first actual film as her starring role, which was Love and Basketball. That was filmed at my high school, my graduating high school. And so I was a part of that as well. So I got to meet the cast. It was really, really fun and special to me. It was like my second movie that I kind of actually worked on. And I was supposed to play a bigger role in it, but my coach found out I was pregnant. So they would not allow me to play the girl that was playing the basketball against her in high school, which is my little twin from high school who got to play against her. So that was the only upset I got, but I was still part of that production as well. So, like I said, in 1999 was a big year. I had my daughter, and Malcom D Lee had his child, which was titled The Best Man. We were introduced to the characters and a whole bunch of black stars that we know today, as such as Morris Chestnut, Monica Calhoun, Terrence Howard. Of course, Regina Hall is one of my favorites. I've been loving her. She has such a beautiful, underrated talent to me. And Melissa De Sousa and Harold Perrineau. I know I'm probably saying his name wrong. I was trying to practice it all weekend so I can make sure I got it right, but I know I still said it wrong. But nonetheless, great cast. I know I just probably missed somebody just now, not on purpose. Of course, I said Sanaa Lathan was there already, but great cast, great starring roles. Shout out to Robbie Reed, of course, who was the casting director of the show, who put this wonderful cast together and gave us this blessing, which is The Best Man. And then in 2013, we got The Best Man Holiday. Uh, Very lovely movie, loved it all, had a great time watching it. But now we are here years later, and we're finally getting the final chapters, which is still near and dear to my heart, especially because these people are around my time. They're I say, okay, so how they put it in the show, 1994, they were in college. I was just graduating in junior high, actually. So they're still a couple of years in front of me, yet they were still in my time era. So it was good to see Black, educated, smart, career driven people make it successfully. And it was very inspiring for me to have that go through. So, nonetheless, we have brought some of the gang together to sit here and talk about our favorite moments of these chapters, talk about the chapters as a whole, the character development since the first original Best Man all the way until now, and what we would love to see coming forward. I brought one of you guys' favorites in our Discord up here. He loves to start drama with us all the time. He loves to fight us women in the chat, but that's love. We love this brother. I got Trey. What up, Trey Mac?
It is not true. I am all about peace, love, connection, togetherness. We all must make it together. That is the lesson.
I feel like
That's
Trey Mack would
that's
be the Q of our Discord.
probably that's yeah, yeah. That's part of my personality. I am more like Q and Harper combined. Yeah, that's kind of yeah, yeah. That's me.
I also have
Hey everybody.
Seaway, but I think she's somewhere in the background. We'll wait till she come back. Oh, there she go. Hey, mama.
Hey, we got Trey off the truck. Okay.
Man, we the
Oh,
made Trey get up here, right?
man, I've been off the truck for about a week now. It's been nice.
Oh, good.
You
Good.
enjoying that vacay, huh?
You ain't lying. I've been sitting on my behind. It's been very nice.
Well,
That's
it's glad
good.
to have you up here in your presence form with us to sit here and debate on who was the true villain of Holiday. Did you catch up on Holiday, Miss?
I didn't, but you had me weak with that story. Well, it's too hot in here.
Yes.
There we
So
go.
Trey, I know we got Seaways, which her favorite was, of course, only one because she can't remember part two or whatnot. But what is yours out of the first two?
Honestly, I don't have a favorite between the two. I actually like them both equally, but separately for different reasons. The first one was just a classic. Being a young kid, you watching this, you like, well, I wasn't that young, but I still saw every character around me
Mm-hmm.
growing up. I seen it. I'm like, okay, yeah, I know that cat. I know that person. Yeah, like you related to it. It was like, okay, I get it. I like this. And it was funny as heck. Even though
Yeah.
there was some drama in it, it was funny as heck to me. The second one was, we're adults now, so it felt more mature. Like, there's a journey here, and we're seeing a part of these characters' journey.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a lot of the topics, seemed a lot of the topics in the second one hit a lot harder than it did in the first. At least for me, I was like, ooh, okay, yeah, yeah, I get that. Ooh, the whole Mia situation that was hard. I was like, ah, man, this dying, this, and Harper and Lance, they still, I'm like, oh, this is bad. They need to fix this. They need to fix this, which it did. It got to, some semblance of a friendship again, and
What do
they
you think?
both needed that.
Whose part you think was more stubborn on that fixing that
Oh,
part?
that was Lance. Lance, it was definitely Lance because Mia said it when everything came to a head in that movie. She said, we never talked about what happened. And Lance didn't want to hear it. He was like, no, 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 we ain't talk about this. We ain't never talk about this. Like, no, I don't want to hear it. She's like, no, you need to blame me too. I played a part. We all did. He just wanted to blame Harper, leave it
Mm-hmm.
all on Harper. But he wasn't by himself. Takes two. So
True that. True that.
takes two. So that was rough. And Lance's face was like, you chose him. I was like, oh. I
Hey,
was
with
like,
those little
oh.
details, I swear that little detail sells that whole moment right there where he repeats it like he consciously heard that, like, wait a minute, she's going on about her speech, and he like, wait a minute, you chose
Because
him?
in his mind, it was Harper who did this. Harper betrayed me. Harper was the one who probably pushed up on her. Because, him and me, Harper and Mia had brother and sister relationship, when they first met. And he
Mm-hmm.
knew, I wouldn't say it was, Harper had feelings for Mia, but it wasn't like deep romantic feelings. He liked her. She was fine. I mean, he said it in the first movie. He was like, "Let's like, yo, you need to hook me up hard." He was like, "No, no, no. She's a good girl. What you talking about? She on time? No,
Mm-hmm.
she just good. No, we ain't messing her up. No, no, no. She was that." So that whole situation, and yes, we had this discussion in the Discord. Yeah, I agree. Harper play his part when Mia was pushing up on him, bruh. No, 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 just no. And he tried to play it off. He was like, "Well, I did. He did feel guilty. He put Lance and her together. He always cheating on her, so he felt responsible." I'm like, "Bro, just no, just no." but it happened because Mia was gonna get it. We didn't talk about it. Now. Mia was a saint, she was, but Mia did not play. When Mia wanted to do something, Mia gonna do something. If you notice, even in the show, Mia's presence is still felt throughout this. She's like, people are thinking like, what would Mia do? If Mia wanted something to happen, it was going to happen for the best of the group. Like, we ain't playing these games. No, it's going down. So when Mia was on her little petty stuff, yeah.
Like they say,
and she can keep it secret.
You gotta watch the quiet ones, you gotta watch the good ones, you gotta watch them.
I know some Mias. You gotta be careful. The best people in the world, but man, you keep pushing them. They're gonna push back, and it's gonna be hard. Hard pushback. Got to be more careful.
Speaking of Monica Calhoun, it was kind of weird to think that we're gonna have more of this series without her, but they gave us a little token, at least in the beginning, that we didn't mention on, is seeing her in a recap, or I guess a daydream.
Yeah.
Dream of Lance, of her there. I thought that was a nice blessing.
There was a couple of times throughout the series where Lance would be sleeping and stuff, and he'd just think of her, and then it morphed into the other chick. You were like, okay.
Well, the first time it happened, I know I for sure thought he was laying with the other chick for real. I said, "Oh wow, he done jumped that already," and then it was a whole other chick. I was like, "Okay," I felt a little bit more relieved that it was a whole other chick. Me personally, because I was just like, "No," I was like, "We got to keep her a little pure, a little longer." Like, no.
Yeah.
But yes,
I enjoy both of them.
Go ahead.
No, I enjoy both of them for different reasons. It's just whenever it's on or whenever I decide to watch it, I'm usually watching both of them together. I'm like, okay, I watch the first one. I'm watching the second one sometime right afterwards, because everything just flows within each other.
Yeah.
So, and it's very rare that you get a movie or show that does that.
That show, yeah, this is true. This is true. That's why I said it's very hard. When I was trying to do the last one and all that time was on mute, I would say it's very hard that any movie produces a sequel that is up to par, if not better, than its successor. So I think The Best Man Holiday is one of those that, like you can't really decide between the two. You like them both for different reasons. I personally do like the second one a little bit better, but it is because of different reasons and stuff. And so it's hard for a lot of people to sit there and be like, oh, the second one was just trash. It's not by far trash. This is definitely one that continues to, like, what does the guy say? The Harper's agent say is the gift that keeps on giving. And so that's what that we got now, is this series that it keeps on giving. And me personally, I wanted to give some more. Of course, I want more. I still left unfinished business. I feel like we're still in unfinished business with the ending of this one.
What are y'all doing? There was no. The ending was so like. Is this the end?
It was on purpose. It was definitely on purpose.
They keep saying this is the end, but the way they looking, they're aging backwards. I think if they give us one in 5 years, I don't know what 10 years is gonna look like, but 5?
No. I say 3 if they do it.
I don't even think they need to go that far. We already filmed this one. We can go ahead and just ride on out right now from these years, and we still, with the time jump, we jump so much time that we still have time to do more things. Like, we can go back into some spaces. We can even go back to that night that Harper and Jordan actually.
Right, I don't think we never saw the end of that.
Yeah, we never got. I mean, because every time they morphed back, it got a little bit more detail, and I was like, well,
what did happen?
Apparently, nothing.
They could give Jordan a baby.
Yeah.
Apparently nothing. They just kissed and then the phone rang and
right. We don't know, but there's so much I think left to say, and I think because I don't know what it feels like for y'all, but for me, I feel like we don't have any young celebrities anymore. Like when I was young, I felt like all of the celebrities were in their 20s. Yeah, you had like the Whitneys and the Mariahs that were a little older, but most of the celebrities were the Shantis, the Beyoncés, the Aaliyahs, everybody, even the actors and actresses, even the Gabrielle Unions, and they're still in their late 20s and early 30s. Now I feel like all of our mainstay celebrities are in their 40s and 50s, and they're all like, we're all moving with them. And I think we want to see like that perspective, like what is happening to this 40 population, young 50 population that still feels young, is still active, still moving, still having kids later on in life, like still exploring. I see there's a whole market for that. And I would really want to see like, what does Jordan do? What's the other side of like putting your career first your entire life and not getting married and not having kids? And what is the other side of the opposite of the Harper who gets married kind of early for convenience and for a look, and then that doesn't work out really long term? And so what does that post-divorce look like? You know?
How does co-parenting look like?
What does the co-parenting look like? What is the person, what is the housewife or the kind of submissive woman look like on the other side of not wanting to be that submissive housewife anymore? Like, what does that look like? What does the woman finding herself look like in her post-fit feminine and submissive lane? Because she's, you know, she's on the other side of that. Robin is.
How do we deal with teenagers? How do we deal with
teenagers? And then you got the Shelby Shelby and Terrence going out of their prime. They're both are nice looking men and women, and they're dealing with the coming out of their prime. That's also interesting. Like,
yeah, they're getting older
with his health. Shelby's dealing with not being that young housewife anymore. So what does that look like? I don't know. Well, let me write the script. There's so much.
That's what I was thinking just now. I was like, because even with Jordan's character, as far as being a mother at a certain age or trying to conceive a child at a certain age, what is that process like? And I know we have celebrities that have done it successfully, but I know that it was a process up until that point to get it done. And how do you do it without a surrogate? Do you choose a surrogate? Do you just adopt? Do you just continue to be a godmother for the rest of your life? What do we do?
And a lot of the women, you know, most of my friends don't have kids. Well, I should say me and my the more successful group of my friends do not have kids. There is a clear, and I'm even the ones that are married, there's a clear, like, it's kind of weird because, you know, my mother was successful, but she still had kids and got married early. That's not happening anymore. And I think it's going to be weird. Like the whole thing, for example, that drama with the ignorance, and I'm saying ignorance in the true sense. I think there's a lack of knowledge about, remember when Gabrielle Union and Khloe Kardashian both were in the hospital bed and the internet was in uproar because they were in a hospital bed as if they gave birth. Remember that whole thing? Yeah. And nurses and stuff had to come out and say like, hey guys, like, it's actually really not weird expecting mothers, and then the surrogates they both are given rooms and they're both have their own bed to do skin to skin, you know, but so many people don't know that. They're ignorant. I was ignorant to that. I was wondering why they were in a hospital bed. I'm like, what? Why are they in a hospital bed? You know what I mean?
It's supposed to start an early bonding with you and the child, even if you're not attached.
Exactly. But that's something that, like, I don't know. If I was Jordan, like if I was, you know how they went into the non-binary and they educated people about non-binary and what that means. And it really helped me, to be honest. They could be educating people about, you know, like what is it like to deal with a surrogate? What is that problem? Like, give me the script. There is so much we can talk about. There's so much education I think that they can do through these amazing actors and actresses. That would be just one more, like.
Yeah, just one more. We don't have to go through the whole life, because then it might be heartbreaking if one of them does pass away. But like, we don't need
no more death. And I also love how they touched on the age and dealing with the aging parent. I think that's a very touchy subject for a lot of people, dealing with the parents who are going through dementia and stuff like that. I think a lot of people in their 40s and 50s have to deal with that too, and that's hard, seeing your parent like that. So they touched on a lot of good stuff. A lot of good stuff.
I think I think that they could continue with this a little bit more. I hope that us as a viewers have given them enough views that they decide to go ahead and move forward with it. I know Malcolm D, he is listening to us a lot. He does appreciate us. I've been watching his page a lot lately and stuff. So I know he's appreciating our love that we've been sending out. But I need you guys more. If you guys are watching this review, please go watch the series, support it some more so we can get more of this, because it does give us good discussions as we go forward, because these are actual real life topics that we are dealing with today.
So many
You
of
know,
them.
all of these everybody was going through some real life things. I mean, the beginning of it starts off a little comical and it's, you know, a little silly how this whole breakup of Ciamora, Imani and all this, you know, takes place. But that sometimes those things do actually happen. It doesn't happen in that extreme, but they do happen where you have this person in your life that you've been kind of secretly crushing on for a long time and vice versa. And finally, y'all just break down to actually be like, you know what, let me stop playing. I love you. Okay, take me or leave me, but I love you, and this is what it is. You know, Trey,
The
you was
kid
wondering
situation was a trip. The
now
kid,
that could explore into that one a little bit more too, because it's just the same. You kept this man's child from him for 10 years and
Did
didn't
I
say anything.
Did y'all? I have a question. When they said that, I was like, did I miss that in Holiday, or was this a revelation right now?
Never. It was a revelation.
revelation.
It was a revelation.
Because I'm
But
like,
we did think
I
it.
supposed
We
to know
thought
that
it in
was
Holiday. We was like, where this kid come from that never talked about her father? I'm looking at the little girl. She's just as emotional as Q is at times. I'm like, this is weird.
Mhm.
She acts more like a daughter to him in throughout that whole movie in Holiday. It was weird.
Yeah,
I was like, cute kid, but they ain't never said anything about it. So I was like,
but
okay.
because she was a housewife and things, we kind of just assumed maybe that was one of her
It says
marriages
whatever. Yeah.
Yeah,
or
because he said
whatnot.
she'd been married a couple of times.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay,
Yeah.
like,
That was a good one. But they didn't deal with up Sean. But they didn't even I hated the way they did it, but they didn't even bring that up until towards the end when Harper was going off on everybody, and he was like, "I know you ain't talking to me, Shelby. Whoa now." And I was like, "Ooh, bad time to bring it up," but he had a point. Y'all
And I
ain't
like
deal
the
with
way
it.
Q received it too, because it was like I thought Q would be a little upset, but he was like, "No, we do need to talk about the fact that you kept my child away from me for all these
Like
years."
it's a thing. It's a thing. Like,
Mhm.
you gonna tell me right when we get married, hey, let's call Kennedy and tell her she's your daughter. Wait, what? He was cool about it, but it was like, okay, wait a minute now.
but that's what shows you. A lot of people be doing what's best. People be doing what's best for them at the end of the day. So I'm like, you can't. That was his point. Like, you can't be out here judging. Everybody's trying to do what's best for them, and I think I don't know when we want to get to the Sanaa and the Harper situation, but that was one of those like everybody's right, everybody's wrong situations. I'm like,
Yeah.
everybody is right and everybody is wrong at the same darn time, and I don't know how to feel. I do not know how to feel.
I think that was on purpose, though.
Yeah,
it was meant for you
hard
to.
to pick sides, because if you've been through all three seasons, all three series, you know why she felt the need to do something so extreme, but it also doesn't make the thing so extreme okay. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
it was weird. It
Yeah.
was weird.
Yeah, and that's why I said we can get into more of these backstories of these characters, like a little deep dive in each as we move forward. It'd be nice to get more of an understanding of why, like Shelby is so tough. We kind of got why Q is such a freelance a little bit, throughout the things, but we don't know why Shelby has such a guard up to where she had to struggle to let anybody love her until, so it'll be nice to see it as we move forward.
Shelby's a weird character. Shelby's a weird character. 'Cause from where she started to where she ended up is such a contrast of a journey. Because she was a snob in the first movie. She was just snobbish, stuck up. Ain't nobody like Shelby. She was like, she's good for laughs, but you was like, oh, Shelby.
No, there are women like Shelby.
Yeah, it
There
was
are
like,
women definitely like Shelby.
you know, she was cool, but she was like, oh, Shelby, just calm down. You know, just calm down. Then the holiday, she was a housewife, so her demeanor changed.
Mhm.
All right, okay, now we got wild shit, but she just do the most. But then during the show, especially when I guess we get into when we get to the third episode, you know, when Jordan wanted to bring her on that show, it was like it pretty much at first she tried to give Housewife Shelby, and that ain't work. Anybody like her? Like, stop it, no. But then she told her, it's like, no, we need a little bit of both. We need debate Shelby when you was in college. You need to combine a little bit of snobbish to housewife. Be real. Be who you are. And after that, you know, he was like, okay, I get Shelby a lot now. You know, she's very multifaceted and she cares a lot, but she hides that too.
I
She
think
But that was
it's in a safe space. I
Mhm.
think people underestimate how a lot of strong women can be if they actually feel safe. You know,
Yes.
like if they actually feel love. That's why they say, like, they tell a lot of these like podcast bros or whatever who are talking about, we need women to be submissive. We need this and that. We need, you know, you to be calm. There's a lot of women who may act like Shelby in one instance, but if they're with a strong man, I can tell you, Terrence was a strong man, and he wasn't strong by yelling. He wasn't strong by, you know, forcing his hand. You know, he was strong in that really like calm undercurrent of strength that I thought was really masculine. And I feel like that is what made Shelby kind of, you know, bring it down. He calmed her down because he was that strength that you had to respect, you know. And I think they actually, and I wouldn't even want to say it's unpopular opinion because I think a lot of people agree with this. They had the least toxic relationship to me out of everyone. That was the crazy. They were the most toxic separately and the least toxic together.
And sometimes it be like that.
I'm like, man, this is interesting. They're like the least. They're understanding and love the way they show up for each other and cover each other. I'm just like,
it just worked.
I wouldn't say least toxic. Maybe we just didn't see as much issues because keeping your child away from you for 10 years. That's hella toxic.
That all goes to the before. I'm talking about that was all very toxic individually. I'm talking about post
during the relationship that you saw.
That what we got of the relationship.
Yeah,
they just for some odd reason, like I said, Discord, they work. I don't know why. They just work.
Everything pre-marriage was extremely about as toxic as it gets. From the baby to the showing up to the wedding to the I don't know to the
random hookups
to the yeah. That was all
pre-wedding.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, it's something about some people do something to you, and like Seaway say, when you find that safe space. But that's what I would love about Shelby's character, because as far as character development goes, I think she had the most out of everybody. I think she grew the most from what we've seen. And I know that watching some old interviews from Malcolm, that she wasn't such a major player, but when he seen her interview, he just loved her or whatnot. And so he kind of just let her do her thing as they continued. And that's what we got. And so she did become a character that we do love. She brings the funny in most of this in the beginning or whatnot. It's so natural with it. And I loved it. It's the rivalry with Ciamora and Monty that it just kills me to the end. But it's also the realization of like, sometimes I just not going to win them all. And I think those humbling experiences that she had was just like a lot, you know, that brought her forward to grow so much as a character while we watch the series continue to go to being to an overly concerned wife that will sacrifice the fact that she can't even have relations with her husband for his health.
Right.
You know, because when she was in the doctor's office, she was like, well, hold up now. You mean we can't have what? And then they say, no, she's like checking his pulse while they try to get it off.
She was wearing him out. He was like, bro, I need some help.
And that's why they work, Trey. That's why they work.
He was like, I need some help, Harper. I need some help, bro. I need some help. You got something? I need some help. Like, oh, wow. You're right.
But you know, the
Them first two
dysfunction
episodes,
worked
I
in
didn't
Holiday.
trust
She was
that.
sending her nasty pics and stuff like that in Holiday. So you got to understand,
Yeah.
they dysfunction was just, they like a sneaky link that just can't let go of each other.
Yeah, they had
Yeah,
good
Q sending
chemistry.
pics.
Yeah.
Yeah, Q sending pics with a towel on his head.
Well, normally I think relationships with that much chemistry don't have the substance behind it. And I think why they win the best couple is because they had the chemistry and the substance all together and it made it work. And you normally don't see that as much. Usually you have one or the other, like with Harper and Robin. Or even if you have the chemistry, like with what is the name? Merch. Merch and his wife had the chemistry, but they got so lost in real life and other stuff that I feel like they almost lost that chemistry side. And I think Shelby and Q are the only couple that never lost both of it together.
I think the thing that we see is we see how marriage evolves, right? Because although Shelby and Q still have that spark for each other, remember they're still very new and being like together. So there's still that newness versus Harper and Merch. Those two people have been in marriage. They've gone through kids together and raising kids together, and you see the issues that come about. You see the mother that is overly focused on their kids. You see the husband that's overly focused on his career and loses sight of what that looks like in your marriage, right? And those dynamics, I think I see and you can relate to, and sometimes you see the animosity that comes from that. I know I came in while you guys were talking about Harper and the situation, and her Sanaa moving to Ghana, which is huge, right? But I think some of that build comes from years of not talking, even when they went to therapy. All these repressed things that you don't talk about in your relationship, they come out. And so she finally, all these years later, decided to live her truth, but that meant something that could, be hurtful to, her family. So, yeah, and it's real. People go through that evolution. I think you see people that are married for 10 years, the 7-year itch or the 10-year, it's real. People really, really do go through that.
That therapy scene had me feeling some type of way because I was just like, Sanaa, bring it down the strip. And I got where she was coming from because it's just like, I've been listening to you, I've been following you, I've been doing everything you say all this time, and I just don't want to hear anymore. But at the same time, I'm like, y'all in therapy, sis. Like, chill. And then she was just canning it. I ain't gonna lie, she played the heck out of that part right there. I was like, you've been in couples therapy a couple times.
I got a question for y'all. Would you consider Robin a free spirit or a free spirit persona or attitude? Those type of people.
Absolutely.
From all the years of the show?
Yeah.
I wouldn't say the free spirit in the sense of what's the one from Different World, Sean?
Oh, like Cree Summer?
Yeah, like Cree Summer. I wouldn't say free spirit in that sense, but I feel like a free-minded, a free-thinking individual that, just needs her independence.
Because I always had this thing about Robin.
Trippy. That she definitely is. Yeah.
I had this thing about Robin. I felt this since the first movie, which goes into why Robin and Harper was always a weird match for me. Even though I loved them, I loved her, but it was a thing in the first movie where they brought up Robin still didn't know who she was or what she wanted to do. No purpose. They was playing it for jokes during the card game, and remember. And then, Harper was like, she finally found her knack, what she wants to do, blah, blah. And I noticed that they kept that going somewhat through the second movie, but it seemed like she found her purpose. During the second one, she was a cook. Cool. And it seemed like she was getting some notoriety for her cooking and being a chef. But then during the series, I started to, especially in that first episode, I started to see again. I'm like, I don't know if Robin knows what she really wants to do with her life. And
Robin
it
is a
kept,
me.
hmm.
Robin is a me. And I say this like this is you're kind of talented in a lot of things that you have nothing to stand on strong. Where some people it's Jordan and they know from this time I have my whole life planned. This is what it is. And like Robin is more like me, where it's like there's things I would like happen in life, but I'll go with the flow of a lot of things and see how I like it until I say, this is where I really want to be. This is me. This is home. And that's what we got in the series with Robin, is her trying to find a home. And that was, I think, the contingency between her and Harper, because they both were in that same lane. It was the same thing. It's the same thing that Shelby told Q. You both are peacocks. You and Ciamora. Y'all not gonna work together. That's what she's saying and stuff. And that's the same with Harper and Robin, is that they both were the same. They're both trying to find themselves. That's why you get that opening speech from him in the beginning of saying, I'm nearly 50 years old and I'm finally finding my way. He had some plans, but it was just like, let's see how this goes. And it's kind of hard for two people like that to be together, because eventually I need to flow this way. My water's flowing this way, and I need to do what I need to do. And if I keep going down your river, I'm going to get stuck because I'm not happy. I'm not doing what I need to do, what is moving me. I'm just following you. And that's what we got towards the end of that series, is her saying, you know what, I just can't anymore. Because I've been chasing you. And then his fight in that is, I've been supporting you, though you feel like I haven't. But every dream that you wanted, I have stood behind you and let you chase that dream. And you change dreams. Every time you got a new dream.
They made it messy between them. I was like, I saw both sides to their issues. I'm like, I saw what was going on. I was like, this is not going to end well with them. This is not going to end well.
Relationship. That's why sometimes being married young and early before you know who you are is not always the best thing. And sometimes I'll speak from a woman's perspective as a wife, especially in this day and age. If you're not trying to be the submissive, go with the flow wife of everything that your husband's trying to do, you better know who you are before you do it, and know that he can rock with who you actually are before you say yes.
Yeah. Or in the end, everybody is gonna lose. And I think the biggest problem is, and I think they were trying to show us this, is that Harper is selfish, and he got in a lot of trouble with multiple characters on the series because he's very selfish, and there's multiple times that he could have picked, let's say, his wife or others, and he never did. And I do think that was a real issue. Like, he could have picked the Ghana trip. That would have probably saved his marriage if he made that good faith effort, or at least temporarily, it would have saved his marriage, at least. But I think him knowing that he couldn't even do that was kind of the nail in the coffin for her. But also, I do think he had a point that, every day, every month, it's a new endeavor. It's a new idea. I mean, just think of it. If that kitchen means so much, she would have found another place to get a kitchen. And instead she decides, I want to move to Ghana and take my child with me. Well, then how important was that kitchen in Harlem? You know what I mean? Like, he still is an author. He's still doing whatever, but now she's on a whole different idea. Before it was like, I need to be at a kitchen in Harlem, and now I'm in Ghana. The moral to the story is that, like Jay said, it's scary on both sides for a man. A lot of men who I think are like Harper, some of them pick the go-getter like Jordan and say, hey, we're going to be tussling a little bit, but let's run together. Then there's another side that pick the submissive woman like Robin because they think it's going to be more palatable, more easy, and then he's going to be able to do his thing, and then she's going to just be a supporting role. And if it stays like that for 70 years, then fantastic. But there's also a risk that this woman playing the supportive role is not going to want to be your what is it? The Bonnie? Not the Robin? Yeah, or the Robin, they're not going to want to be Robin forever. They may want to be Robin forever, literally and figuratively, or they may not. You know, you never know.
What you was gonna say, Sean?
Yeah, I was going to say that, and the other big part that it highlights is that, and I've seen this in my own relationships and in my other friends' relationships, it's the communication piece, right? Because to our point, right, there was a lot of things that Robin wasn't wrong about, right? But it required Harper to almost be somewhat psychic, you know, and you gotta communicate. And I think sometimes in our relationship, it just reminds you, like, you can assume that they know this, right? You know, but if you don't put words to it, and if you're not clear about it, and if sometimes you go along to get along for those very big life decisions, then you're also complicit, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, so you can't wake up 10 years later because you've been restrained and then just kind of unleash the dragon on somebody and then expect them to just be like, okay, you know, like, oh, well, I see the sacrifice. Well, yes, but there's still certain things that you should have really been more vocal about, right? You know, yes, could he have read the room and saw how upset she was, or not really, that she wanted to move to the Upper West Side from Harlem, right? He could have saw that resistance, which was there and true and accurate. But in life, right, do we sometimes not just say, you know what, I see the point of what my partner is saying, and then, you know, you agree. So it's very challenging when you try to come back and be like, well, I never wanted to live here. And again, I've had that in relationships, whether it was my marriage or others, where we've done something together that we agreed, and there wasn't an agreement in the beginning. And then the person, you know, she'll come back and say, well, I really didn't want it. Well, hey, whose fault is that? You know? Or don't get to say, because, oh, now we agreed to something and then you don't like it, and now you're going to hold my feet to the fire because of a decision we made together. It's very hard to do that, and people do that in relationships, and it's almost like a form of holding somebody emotionally hostage, right? You know, and I think that is dangerous. And the part that just saddened me, it broke my heart in the movie, was his daughter being broken. I mean, I literally shed a tear when they drove off in that car, and the daughter was like, "Mommy, can Daddy come with us?" And I think they put a nice little pretty bow on it and spin on it and made it all okay. And she sent her back to be a part of his, you know, big premiere. But yeah, no, you're still hurting your daughter for your decision, for a life decision that you want to have, right? And it's okay, it's okay to do that, but you got to acknowledge that your real daughter is being hurt, because you're not just moving across the country, you're moving to a whole other continent.
And that was my point. I think regardless, I understood what she was getting at. But when you just, you know, it's the baby mama culture nowadays. On top of the divorces, people don't realize that the moment you decide to have a child with someone, whether you're married to them or they're just your child's father or child's mother, your decisions now, it's always going to be a mutual decision. I mean, nowadays with technology and airplanes, if you really wanted, let's say you live in Chicago and you want to move to Houston, you may be able to make it work if two people are committed. But in reality, sometimes you need to be committed to living in the same city or same state as someone that you ain't even with no more. That is literally the decision you have to be thinking about. And I just thought that was so unfair to move to another continent because that's what you want to do. I don't feel like that's fair to the child. And I know it's an effed up situation. If I ever end up in that situation, God, hopefully not, God forbid, I can't just be, I don't believe it's right for me to be like, I have a fantastic opportunity in LA, but my child's father lives in New York, but I'm just going to go anyway. That may not be right. That may not be right. And I think it's something you have to think about.
As a person who started off in two different states in the first place, and when I had my daughter, that struggle is hard. And that's just two different states. Okay. The time away, you know, and just to think this timepiece as it's set at the setting, it's this year. So we're basically coming out of the C word and all of this, and travel still not all the way up to par. And then all of the regulations that you have to go through just to get the travel to get to a whole nother continent. So it's not an easy journey. And like you said, he could have been less selfish in that moment, just like she could have been less selfish in that moment. And both of them thought about the child's future more so than anything, because we did see him get a little bit more or less selfish towards the end of that when he was deciding, hey, you know what, you keep the house because it's close to her school, she has her thing, I'll move down the street or whatever. And it was a more so, no, I'm going to do what I want on her part, which in turns, the child is going to remember that you're the reason I'm distant from my daddy. Now you got to hope that they do have a strong enough bond as you continue, or you're willing to sit here and say, you know what, this amount of years, the child is going to get this type of culture just so our child can be culturalized. But at another time, I'm going to send a child back to you, and you have your years with the child, and you have to do that. But it's still hard on both parents, trust and believe, because that time away, when you have, and this is your firstborn, you're missing all of those moments. You miss a lot of moments in between them. And it's like 1 minute you're talking to a 5-year-old, next thing you know it, they're 7. And then the next thing you know, it's just like, wait, when did this time go? You know, so it's hard when we do break up the whole family, but it can be done. And so like we were saying earlier, hopefully moving forward, we can get more and we can actually see how that co-parenting dilemma transpires later on. I mean, even after her finding Donna, she can come back to the States.
Yeah, I personally remember, this some years ago now, but I personally remember when my ex-wife said she was moving for a better job opportunity. At first, you know, I was playing it cool and everything, but I was really thinking in my head, I didn't know how to feel. I was just like, okay, so is my son going with you? Is staying with me? I didn't know what to think. I was just really like, okay, all right. I don't want to stand in the way of you succeeding in life because it was a better job opportunity. How would it look for me to tell you, no, we're not together. We're divorced now. I can't just dictate what you got going on. This is your life. But we do have a son together. So it's like, oh, okay. How do I deal with this? What do I say? How do I feel about it? I finally got to, it happened quickly. I finally got to the point like, whatever relationship I have with my son, that's on me. I need to keep that strong. I need to keep that stable, no matter where he goes. But yeah, in the beginning for a second there, I was really thinking like, I wasn't full blown Harper, like I'm gonna take custody, But for a second, I was really thinking like, oh God, how did this work? What do I do? The part of me, am I losing my son? I don't know. Like what's going on? Yeah, I had those thoughts when I was by myself, just thinking about it. Like, how did it make me feel? Didn't feel particularly great about it. If I had to be honest, like, there was nothing malicious going on with it. She came to me, she's like, I need to talk to you about something. I was like, okay, what's going on? And I was like, oh, okay. And it wasn't like, oh, we're leaving tomorrow. It was months before. So we talked about it. It was conversations, so.
Yeah, I think the thing that was good about that, at the very least, the way your ex-wife handled it was she talked to you about it in advance, right?
Yes.
He got backdoored while they were signing his divorce. So you got a divorce. He had already signed over the rights to custody to her, not even shared custody. He was like, I don't want to fight. You could be the sole, the primary custodian. And then to be told at the table, once everything is done, and Trey, we've been through a divorce. So that process and trying to get to the point where everybody signs, everybody's good, all's good. And, once you're ready to sign and just like, okay, this is the grand finale, you like ready to breathe a sigh of relief, but you just get gut punched and told, oh, by the way, I knew you would have a problem with this. So this is why I didn't tell you till there was nothing left. So she pulled that move. Ooh, that was
I feel some type of way.
And she moved it without even her lawyers knowing. That's how
Yeah,
much of
the
a move
lawyers
she
was
pulled.
like, "Uh-oh." The lawyers was like, "Uh-oh, this is a problem."
Yeah,
This is a
the
problem.
lawyer. I mean, maybe the lawyer knew, but the lawyer sure enough copped out. Was like, she just sprung it on us.
I ain't know. Like, ooh, it was rough. It got real nasty with them quick. It got real nasty with them quick, and it just become tit for tat. Oh, you know what? I'm gonna get custody. You know, and then she just.
It's see the catch-22 in that scenario is if he doesn't do what he does, which is file for custody himself, then it looks like I don't care if you take my child, and that looks bad later on once the child get of age. It's like you never fought for me as well. So it's in a no-win position for him. You know, as it looks vindictive, but also on her part, that looks vindictive. Last minute, you're gonna up and take my child when I've been agreeing to everything so far, and you're just gonna up and take my child like this. You know that's that gets me. That's my baby, and you're gonna take the last thing that hurts me. you're gonna do that on purpose. You're trying to hurt me, so of course it's gonna look vindictive on his part when he goes and do it. But that's his child at the end of the day, and we didn't have no talks of, okay, even though I'm giving you so much, how do I spend my time without me just having to come to you? Because one day will come where you have somebody else, and this open door that I have anytime to see my child won't be so open. So let's be real. You're not having these conversations, and that was the problem with the relationship that Sean even mentioned on earlier, is that their communication, even towards the end, is still not where it needs to be. We're still not having the talk on how do we see our child mutually that's fair enough to all of us.
Yeah.
You're still being selfish and she's still being selfish. But the kid is suffering the whole time.
100%.
And don't understand
no
why.
Pretty way to wrap a bow around a father being in New York and the mother being in Africa. I don't care. I don't care how pretty you package that, you know. And Trey, you highlighted it, and Siwe was talking about it earlier. And so did you, Jay, right? Everybody knows even the concept, whether you've done it directly or you can visualize it. Co-parenting in other states is hard. Let alone you talk about all the way on the other side of the world. You know what I mean? So there's no way that little girl is going to get grown. And if they stay in Ghana all them years, you know, and she's going to be like, Mom, this was the best thing for me was to be thousands upon thousands of miles away from my dad. It makes sense. I loved it. I didn't miss him at all. There wasn't a moment I felt like he didn't miss. There wasn't access that I wish that I didn't have, it was all, unless he acquiesces and moves to Africa, whether it's part-time, that's the only way that's going to work. There's no way. I don't care how good of a writer anybody that's putting this movie together. Ain't no way. I'm calling it ain't no way that's going to be healthy for her long term with him being that far away. So he just might have to sacrifice based on his career and move to Ghana and write from Ghana and rearrange his schedule like 6 months out of the year, to be there.
Yeah. Sorry, Trey, I had to mute your mic because I was getting a little feedback from yours. So you can unmute yourself whenever you need to chime in and stuff. But yes, definitely agree with that. That was tough to watch. I'm not going to lie. I was just like, I'm not seeing no beautiful way out of this. It's hard to follow your dream and have a kid involved and not tear them away from their other half in a nice way. Like you said, there's no way to put a bow on it. So like I said, moving forward, I would love more of this just to see how they could continue to co-parent going forward. If her stay is not too long, if she just does enough time and come back, or if he does manage to go down there for a couple of months out the year just to spend quality time with his daughter, it'd be nice to see. Maybe we can have a whole series in Africa, watching them, vacation in Africa. It'd be nice.
So Jay,
Kojo could be a featured guest TikToking around.
Right. Local TikToker.
So Jay, so we ain't gonna talk about the fact that Miss Robin had a whole
Oh
little
no, we
farm
don't
boy
get
on the
into that
side.
whole little lust affair that she was having over
That
there.
was a whole emotional affair. And low key, I thought she was gonna have an affair with the Caribbean woman when they were in that farmers market. I was
You
like,
was hoping for that,
whoa,
child.
whoa.
No, low key, you was hoping for that, huh?
I was like, hey, I wouldn't be
They
mad
was
at
in
it.
love with the food so much she loved them.
Yeah.
Nah,
It was
man.
wild.
I was like, okay. I was like, when she was sitting there, I was looking like Candace. I was like, girl, this is awkward for me. You got me around your side. And I said, when she had around the kid, I was like, oh no, this heifer done lost her whole mind. Wait till Harper find out.
That's when it got foul for me. I was like, wait a minute.
And I just knew he knew something why he just never like went for it with the place. I just was like, he was going to spring up this fact that you got this man over here that you lust and he bringing you heaters and spending time with our child. And it didn't go there. And I was like, oh my God, thank God. But I just knew that was going to be the reason for them to just be like, okay, this ain't working because she out here hot in the pants. And they were still getting it in. So that's why I was trying to figure out, like, where is this coming from? But I got it because it was somebody that emotionally was on the same wavelength mentally as her. So
did that whole deal with the dollar thing seem funny to you? The whole time I'm thinking, with the farm boy, what one was his character name was. That whole time when he brought up the idea, I was like, okay, first he's proving that he's listening to her. You know what I'm saying? Hearing her ideas. I was like, oh crap, here we go. That's bad. It's bad. But then he brought her there. He was telling her, oh, it's a good deal. You can do this. I was like, wait a minute. Why is this happening? You already got a kitchen. Now you want to open this restaurant, whatever. Something's weird here. Something didn't feel right. And I was thinking maybe they're going to take Harper that route. The reason why he didn't go through with it, because they made a point to say he did let his money people look into it. He did do that part. He just decided not to go through with it and didn't tell her, which was his fault. But he did look into it. And he was like, it's something seemed a little funny about it. I was like, it should have went a little further than that. What was really going on there? Because that was just weird. He just brought this woman that you supposedly know is married with her kid, and now you trying to get her invested into this.
Well, it'd be interesting if he pop up in Ghana.
Oh, he's definitely going to be visiting Ghana. Yeah. Yeah. He going to be Uncle, whatever his name is.
I think it made it a lot easier for her to just be like done with the relationship too, though. It was just like, I'm still getting attention out here in the street. I can still pull a little bit. So while I'm still hot, let me go ahead and try it out and see what I can do. So I get somebody more my speed, I guess.
It was all meaty and flavorful. It was all meaty and flavorful. I was like, you got to be kidding me.
But sometimes when you have a person in your life that is just going with everything that you agree with, I mean, just get along to get along, sometimes this type of stuff is happening in the background because they're not getting their needs met emotionally, mentally, and or spiritually. Physically, you might be doing all that you need to do for that person, but those other areas are not being met. And so that's where the work husband, this was her
Holmes,
work husband.
Amy Robach. That's why I'm saying it right now. Ain't no work. You get a divorce from your work husband, your work wife. We together. You can't. Ain't nobody. Just move on. Keep it. Because that's exactly what happens.
Mm-hmm.
You can fumble the bag and break up a little happy home. So.
You thought it looked like he just wanted to say something, Seaway.
Her eyes lit up when I said TJ Holmes. She got lots to say about that character.
I'm done dragging that man. I'm too busy fighting off these TikTok haters that I got to block who want to go so hard.
Oh, with your Meg and Tori.
I think that's a good point Casey made. I'm not sure why to ask him to check out the deal unless it was a test. He was too busy. But they their finances was kind of together.
And you can't purchase something like that without your husband's consent anyway.
Well, but the part I felt about it with KC was she dumped it in his lap because she had this whole big bright, oh, this is the thing, this is gonna be the best place for the kitchen, da 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 da. Okay, now you follow through. No, because a business takes two parts. Yes, you need his consent, you need, his opinion, but she should have got all the pieces together, presented a plan, why it made sense. Let's meet with the finance team together and let's talk it through. But she was just like, okay, here's my idea. Boom, you fix it. You make it make sense. You put it together.
And it went back to where the argument was at the end is you come up with all these ideas and here you go. And it was just to him, like you said, another idea. It didn't have the business plan. It didn't have all the ins and out worked out. How much you're going to make back from it? What are we going to get? This is just another idea, quick moment idea of yours. Moving on.
From this next ninja, by the way. Petty and me would have been like, yeah, no, it ain't never going to work.
Yeah. I was like, oh, is this a Mia moment when she getting like, okay, you got your Jordan, so I'm going to have him. Like, okay, Lord Jesus. I really thought it was going down that late. I was like, oh, he about to get karma back from Mia. Jesus. I'm glad they took me off that ride because I was like, oh, no. But he'll be in Ghana. Don't worry, Trey.
He going to definitely take a little quick trip. But the other part, I was like, in the beginning, I was a little annoyed, low-key, that they had to make Lance's son non-binary and, whatever, fill in the rest of the blanks of where he fell on the range of. But then I think it just it pushed Lance's character a little bit, and I'm glad that they showed the realness of it, of a father and a son, and how that would all look like, and not try to put a pretty bow on it.
Right, that's why I liked it. They didn't make it.
I did that, and in the beginning, I'm like, oh, here we go. When I saw him open up that bag and he had them daggone heels, I was like, oh hell. This ain't gonna end. This ain't gonna end well.
After this season of American Horror Story, I was like, is he about to go to one of these places?
Nah, the moment when Jordan said you can wear what you want, he made this smirk. I was like, uh-oh. I knew it. I was like, oh, here we go. I knew it. I was like, here we go.
I think that was another good topic at the end because, when you are invested into Christianity, your church or whatnot, it is hard and to have a discussion with your youth or anybody else that are not following certain guidelines that you might be accustomed to because this is how you was raised in the church or the truth or whatever you're following. And so towards the end, I liked how they had that turnabout where they're in the church. It was one of those moments almost to where Lance had Harper pray with them while they were in it was a callback to like the first Best Man, where it was like, okay, you want this, you got to pray with me. And so it was good to see because it is a new discussion that some of us may have to have with our children going forward, trying to understand how they fit in God's eyes as well as, live who they feel they are. And that was a good opening for me as well, because it is like something is just like when you're so stuck into a truth that you come to grown with since you were little, certain things shouldn't be taking place. And those are like one of the things. So it's just like he said, I learned that God loves me, but how can he love me if he doesn't condemn this? If he condemns this, so it is a place that is just like, we have to figure it out as we go, because we are people learning the truth, but we don't know what it is. So as we're figuring out, we have to still have that openness to love people around us that are different from us and have different, views on how life should be from us, and not be so gung-ho on how we feel the Bible tells us to be.
Yeah, it reminded me of when my my stepdaughter came out, and I had a buffer, right? Buffer slash an inability to fully be invested, right? Because being a step parent is, although, you know, a lot of people have different step parent relationship dynamics, right? You still follow the lead of the biological parents, especially if they're around, right? And in my case, my stepdaughter, very active relationship with her dad, right? So, but she was in the household with my ex-wife and myself. So, you know, obviously it's very known my stance, my opinion on things. At the time, I was very actively involved in my church. So it made things quite interesting, right? Once it kind and it didn't, and it's like, I'm glad this, you know, this character also, you know, it wasn't some, you know, just declaration, right? It came up in a very awkward way. And blindsided both of us, but you know, it was what it was. And I mean, I think knowing what I knew, especially knowing I was a step parent, I had to be very careful about what I said in terms of her relationships. But still, there was still a feeling from her, no matter what, that you don't like who I am, right? Or you sit in judgment of who I am without me even saying it. And I think that's the hardest part. So imagine, contrast that with, you know, the character Lance's son, who the father was adamant about what he didn't want him to be or do. And that just that exacerbates it. So, it's really, really tough. It's really tricky. And again, I know it's super, super hard because there's things you believe and there's things you want to say, but you can't really say that, right? And there's a part where you get to, you know, for me, because I love my stepkids like they were my own, it's like that's when you have to separate yourself because you have so many ideas for who you want them to be, who you can see, you see their potential. But then you have to accept that now as young adults, they get to choose. And there's nothing you can do. You can fight. You can try to fight and make them do it, or you could try to fight, but that is a battle you do not want to fight. Them teenagers, Jay, I know you can. Them teenagers, woo! You don't want to fight with them because it's just going to be not good for either one of you. So, you know, eventually you just say, listen, I love you. I don't have to agree with you, but I love you. I want you the best. I'd rather you talk to me. I'd rather bite the bullet of how I feel inside and you just talk to me and me not try to, so that I don't come off super judgmental and you do stuff that now we can't fix. So I just needed Lance to get there quicker because when that kid was when we thought he was going to end his life, I was like, no, Lance, you gotta catch up, bro. You're going to lose your son and it's going to be too late.
Yeah, I ain't gonna lie. The little friend was getting on my nerves. I was like, look, the boy is lost. We trying to save a life. You better quit playing with these pronouns right now. I ain't got time for no him still.
I was so annoyed. I was like, this is not the time.
I was like, we gonna have
I'm
like, look, little boy.
them. Trey, we can't hear you.
You break it up real bad.
I'm sorry. Good.
It's making a weird noise. I don't know if you're moving by your mic or something. We're getting a weird feedback.
Hang on.
Okay. Yeah, it was driving me crazy because I'm like, first of all, we not supposed to be on a scanner. And next thing you know, Jordan's on the daggone scanner. And I'm like, she here it halfway. She don't know she in a panic. I'm in a panic. Everybody in a panic. And I was just, when they said they found that boy, and I was just like, oh God, please don't tell me like we about to go through another heartbreak. What I do love about Morris Chestnut's character is that he has this rage and he has this way of curling that lip. He's kind of like he getting at Denzel with Denzel on that one tear, but he got this lip curl that he does when he getting that little rage. But we've seen it happen in this series, and that's like a part of his character now is where he's going to have this moment of rage, where it's just going to like unleash all this hell, and it's kind of sexy to me. That's my little toxic trait. Mrs. Chestnut, I ain't coming on to your husband anymore. I stopped. But it was funny to watch another flashback with him and me and having the son again, and they put the hair on him or whatnot. I just thought that was cute and funny to have him with hair again. But it was nice to see that flashback of saying, okay, you know what, I already lost my wife. And if she was here, she would understand and she would calm me to be able to deal with this moving forward. And to relate that to how he interacted with the young cat off the team, you know, how he got through to him. And it was just like, okay, use what you do to get to those boys to rebuild this bond you have with your son, because I thought it was going to go whilst he was finding his purpose as being his purpose, being all into his son moving forward as an athlete and being one of those parents that are just like overly push your child away because you want them to do what you did and all this stuff. And it took a little turn, but it was still along that lines of, I want you to do what I did and do what I do. And so you have to follow what I say. But I like how they spent it a little bit to bring it back to, I still have to learn from you how to move forward. So I won't become a relic, as well as I don't lose you in the process of trying to find my way upon you. And so I just thought they did a very good job with that, even though, like we said, it was, here we go with this, you know, that's being incorporated and everything, but this is our reality now. You know, a lot of us do deal with it. And I did like what Seaway said earlier, is learning what non-binary, because you kind of get a hint of it as you listen to it and whatnot, but to really understand what he means by saying, like, I don't identify with either side. I tap into either side of my masculine or my feminine in at any given moment. So it was good to understand that a little bit better.
That was actually really helpful. I'm not even lying, because I up until this movie, and maybe that's the point of it, I've never really had a good explanation of this non-binary thing, especially because you got people like Demi, what's her name?
Demi Lovato.
Demi Lovato, who plays all day, and people be playing all day. So I really didn't understand it well, and I think it was helpful that he kind of explained that, you know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And again, I got my crash course, you know, with my stepdaughter, right? Because I had to learn then there's people that, you know, we used to back in, I feel like I'm just aging myself, you know, back in our day, we used to be like, we could understand the concept of someone being bisexual, right? For us, that made sense. There's really not even people that say that now, right? So there's fluidity. So I had to learn that from my stepdaughter. She was like, no, it's fluid. I'm like, okay. So I'm like, well, what does that mean? And she was like, well, think about water, right? Water can flow in any different direction. It's like, that's, you know, and I'm like, huh? I was like, you know, and you try, but you need somebody that where you can ask those questions so that you know, because as things are evolving, you need to kind of be able to put words to the language. And Jay, as you were saying, they were going to have this pronoun battle, right? And it's like, come on, let's not do that. Like, this isn't the time to be so exacting, because, you know, people really don't, there's a lot of people that just don't understand, right? Mm-hmm. And especially you trying to find your child that you think is no longer here. And now you want to tell me they, them, him, he, my child. Okay. Where are they? Do you know or don't you? If you don't, then go on with yourself. If you do, then please tell me so we can save his life. Right.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. I moving forward, I would love to get more of that story. I would love to get more into the other children as well. One of them got to be an athlete. It'd be nice if one of the girls end up being that athlete, though. Like,
surprise them, right? Now, I was confused, and I know Casey and you, Jay, too. We were going back and forth with that, and I'm like, yeah. Now, are they twins? Are they not twins? Is he older or she older? I couldn't tell. So that kind of threw me for a loop too.
Yeah, I was like, okay, at least they matched the two youngest to the colors that they had in the holiday. But then I was like, the first two was darker, but okay, I'm gonna leave it alone. You know, we Black people, we come in multicolors.
It is evolved, you know.
It is what it is. Makeup does wonders. Makeup does wonders, baby. Yeah, I can't keep up. I was starting to calculate ages and see if it made sense on some ages. And I was like, you know what? Let me leave it alone. This is movie magic. I'm not going to go into depth of it. These ain't even real people.
The thing too, like, can we just celebrate and recognize all the Black excellence and all its different facets? Oh man, I don't know if y'all talked about that at all, but that was amazing. You see so many different versions. You see so many different places where people are living, but it's all Black excellence. So I love that. Whether it was Brooklyn, it was Harlem, it was New Jersey. I was like, oh man, this is what's up. I love seeing that.
What I said in the last video that I took down is that I love this movie, The Best Man itself, like the very first one, because it was Black people coming out of college, being successful, and nobody was killed in it. Like nobody was unalived in it, and it was like beautiful because we didn't get that at that time. We got like the Boys in the Hoods, the South Centrals, all of these things where somebody always had to lose a life and it wasn't natural. This was like the first movie that we got to see people coming out the NFL, people being just successful from family generational wealth, people being educated, people being beautiful, Black and successful and all these things. And to continue that success as going forward, even though if they didn't have their way and their footing all the time and it was ups and downs. And that's what I liked about the holidays so much too, is that sometimes within our friend group, we start going through things and, in hopes to keep up with the Joneses, we don't always tell our friends stuff. And it was like nice to see the guys always come together and be such a friendship bond that they realized it's like, you're going through something. And that was always through this thing. And I loved all the callbacks to the card table, regardless if they were playing spades or poker. And, the final callback where they get Harper back on his feet, where they just like, I'm about to run a Boston on you, with Q's famous line. That was just a beautiful thing because that was their way of checking in with each other on a regular, and as our friends groups continues, that's what we need to do sometimes to make sure that we know our friends well enough to say, something's off. We got that through the first couple of episodes with Harper on Q, like something's off. Q was on Harper in the same way in Holidays, like, bro, I know your card didn't go through. Do you need some help? Just come to us. Just tell us. Stop being so proud. Stop being in your pride all the time. Just talk to us, and it was like this through the whole thing that they checked in with each other. Q was really that boy when he came to checking in with his boys, as much as we would feel like he was a self-centered individual, he actually paid attention to all of his boys. He knew when March was feeling some type of way about the movie. He knew when Harper wasn't on this stuff. He knew how Lance would handle the fact that his son needs to tell him. LJ needed to tell him. Like Q was that dude for checking in on everybody. And I love where Mia had told him, because it was like, I like when they call each other brother and sister, because it was more so they were two of the people, what Casey says, the glue. They were the glue for the whole group. And, she even made sure that, hey, who's going to check in on you, though? You checking on everybody else, but who's going to be there for you? So it was good to have that. He had Shelby, even though we might not feel like sometimes these two might not make it, but in real life, Shelby definitely was going to check on Q no matter what. Nobody was doing. I love that opening scene. I swear I'm going to go back to that in the beginning every time where she sat there and tore up that daggone office and everything about him getting married. She tore that thing up. That was the best scene. I swear to God. The first two episodes, she had me dying. Melissa, you did your thing up in that. Mr. Sousa, you did your thing because I was crying.
Yo, when she left that car in the middle of the street, I was like, yo, she was wilding. She was wilding. And Q in the office, what are you doing here? Just going crazy. I was like, oh, wow. She loves him.
She loves him.
She loves him, period.
We go together real bad.
Oh, my God. Actually came to that island.
You knew that she was
uninvited, no less. Uninvited and discouraged.
I'm coming. I don't care. I'm coming.
Everybody's
He coming
you're
too.
not invited.
He's like, I'm coming. He coming too. Watch. What's gonna happen? This is gonna happen. Play the Jodeci. It's going down. It's going down. I was like, oh wow, this is wild. Right, cute. So cute. I don't think he knew what was going on. I don't think he knew. He was just like, why Harper, get rid of her, man. Harper, get rid of her. Like, oh my goodness. It was funny.
Again, I know he knew he was in that prearranged marriage. I don't know if he was going along to get along with that. I don't know what the deal was with it. I don't know if it was agreement to get back in good graces with his dad. We didn't really get a closure on that, on how we even got here, because we knew he had beef with his dad for a while. His dad wanted him to do what he wanted, but I was just like, yeah, no, I don't know. I don't know.
She wasn't it. She just wasn't it. Something, the moment you saw her on screen, I was like, nah, something off with this chick. She cared more about the brand than actual cute. That was the big thing with her. You could see it. She was all about, how we're gonna look, how things gonna look, what our brand is gonna be. This is what we put forth, and it was never about, okay, what does Q need? Is this Q? And that wasn't him. Even he kind of knew it wasn't him. He was just falling through the motions because I guess he felt like the conversation with Mia. He felt like, yo, am I gonna have somebody? Everybody else has someone. Am I gonna have someone?
Mm-hmm.
That's probably how he got with her in the first place. Just that in his mind, he's like, it's time. It's time. I got to, it's time. But is it time with the right one? That's a question he never asked himself. Is the time with the right one?
But like he said, when they finally had that moment with Shelby, she never gave him much. He was looking for more from it or whatnot. And I get it. When I watched back on the other ones and stuff, he would present the offer as like of them going forward, but then he will always take the offer back. It would be him. So she kind of stayed closed off, like, okay, well, you don't want nothing more than with this. So I'm just going to give you what I can get from you. I can get you this kind of way. That's what it is. And so when he comes back and it's like, well, you never offered me more. It's like, well, you kept taking the more away when she might have been open to it.
But she always came out crazy though. She always came
off crazy, but he liked that crazy. He just is crazy.
Yeah, but when it's time to get serious, it's like, okay, do you think, like we asked her during the holiday, do you think, should we give this a serious try? She, she kind of gave a plastic face like she was thinking, but when things she just went, And that's when he went, nah, that's crazy. Nah, we ain't doing this. Nah. It was never really serious. She never really, I don't think she even took it serious.
As a person that has your child secretly, I'm waiting for you to get your things together. You got to think about it though. If we go back and think about it, we know we didn't know at the holiday that this already took place. But I done had your baby. I keep ending up in this position with you. You know what I'm saying? Every chance that we possibly get. And I'm pretty sure that on holiday wasn't the first chance since the first time that they'd have been in this position. So I'm pretty sure in between all her marriages,
your baby, my baby done wipe your tears at our friend's funeral. This is weird. This is yo, this is weird. They never, we probably do need a second season because they never really dealt with that. And we need to have a conversation about Kennedy too, because I was sitting there thinking like, yo, what happened to the sweet little girl that we met in holiday? Because this new Kennedy, my God, she was getting on my nerves. Like,
teenage hormones and her mama.
Oh my God, she was getting on my nerves here and there. I liked her, but she was on my nerves.
She's Shelby 2.0. So it's just like, you're a little bit worse than me. You my baby and all, and the hormones then kicked in. So we go through it, if you get a girl and your mom, y'all already know. The mothers out there know.
But I did appreciate Kennedy's friendship with LJ though. Mm-hmm. That, that's when you actually saw, all right, well, you saw flashes of the Kennedy we knew as a little girl when she was with LJ. As a friend, she was supportive. She was there for him. Honestly, that's kind of when her cuteness came out. she was cute. Her daddy came out of her then, or when she finally did call him dad, like that was you. Would you call me? I'm coming, Elizabeth, and all. That was a nice little moment. He kind of realized, like, oh wow, like I want to be here. I want to be here so that I can go through the rest of my life with her, raise this girl, love her. I want to be here for this. That was a big moment for him. Sweet.
I think another thing we can dive into going forward, as if I'm going to say the series is going to continue. So going forward in this series, they can go into the Merch and Candace's girls as well, dealing with anxiety, because she was a high functioning, she had high functioning anxiety. Like I didn't realize her anxiety was that bad. And I understand why Candace was so pressed on finding herbal remedies to help her. But to see her when they was trying to go to the holiday party and her just like panic.
Was I wrong that her character kept on getting on my nerves?
The daughter. Yeah,
I was like, do I not have patience? I suffer from zero patience. Every time she was on that screen, I was like, she's agitating the living hell out of me.
It was just always something a little more with them, like with the car, the cab situation and stuff. It was just like something that was there, but they never went further with it.
Yeah, some was weird.
Yeah, so it would be like to see more of their development, because you got the younger of them and they were spicy and feisty all as the younger version, discussing what dessert, the new name of dessert was, and all this stuff. We got them being feisty then, and then as they got older, it's all of a sudden we high anxiety and we can't go to the party because LJ gonna worry about how we dress. And I can understand living up in what's the I don't know how her name, just
Kennedy,
the daughter.
Yeah,
You're
Kennedy
talking about
Shadow.
Shelby's daughter.
Yeah, Kennedy's shadow. I can get that anxiety, being pressured by a semi-cousin, so to speak, who's always high fashion. But it was a bit much because I'm like, you grew up with these people.
I think those girls, at least in the context of what we saw on the show, they were adversely affected by that cab situation with their father and seeing their father in that type of predicament. Because when they got back to the house, you see Candace is asking what happened, what's going on. You seem like I think the youngest girl wanted to talk about it and say what happened. The oldest girl like, no, your dad could have been hurt, could have been bad, blah blah blah. No, and didn't want to deal with it. And that also played into Merch's concept. He's already feeling this anger building up inside of him, and pretty much had no outlet of letting it out. Everything was getting to him.
I'm saying, like, that could have been explored more, and I think they just dropped the ball and moved on when they could have opened that up more, because then we would have got more of why she's so anxious. Like coming off of 2020, being locked up in the house, I can get that anxiety. Being pressures of a teenager, I can get that anxiety. Coming off of George Floyd, all those type of things, I get that anxiety. But they just didn't go.
No, they didn't.
Where else?
They just touched on it. And then the Merch was getting on my nerves because he was way too henpecked for me. I'm like, you go from one, you left Shelby because you felt like you didn't have your voice, and now here you done going with somebody else, and you done let Diamond henpeck you.
Not Diamond. So her name is Candy.
He was Diamond is
a whole nother one.
I know. I Diamond. And what was that she had on her head? Because Regina Hall is gorgeous, but why they put that thing on top of her head?
They had to work hard to make her look plain. That's how you know. That's when you know you when they got to work that hard to make you look plain. Because I was like, what did y'all got on this lady head?
Yeah, that was nuts.
I'm not gonna lie though, I was cracking up. Them two together is like the perfect funny couple, because their face expressions when they got high at the holiday party and them all being high at the resort, I was like, I can't with these two. I was dying. But yes, we also had Candace getting violated by her professor, and that was kind of like never really totally It's like so much.
Yeah.
I left it open for us so much
I thought
more.
Merch was gonna go up there and front kick him for real. I was like, go ahead, Merch.
Roundhouse kick right on Grandpa. I think he spared him because he was an older gentleman. You know, he knew he would have sent him right into the nursing home. So he was like, yeah, nah, he catches a pass. But I think it's so interesting because, you know, they had accomplished so much with their family and their kids, and, you know, she's now getting her PhD, but it just shows the danger of looking for validation outside of your home, right? You start looking for the same with him, because being 40 plus, whatever his real age was in the show, now you go into MMA. You want to go into Fight Club, bro? No. Now, you needed something, but you could have taken kickboxing classes. You could do taekwondo. You could do Muay Thai. I mean, there's so many things you could do, bro.
I mean, that's how he got started. The kickboxing classes. He was just
he got talked into that. He got talked into that by the trainer. I was just here, you know, getting out some anger. That's it. The dude's like, hey, I think you can do something. Come on, man, and try this out. Like, next thing you know, he punching people, kicking people, around houses. Like, is this Merch for real?
He was
bruised up, no less.
He was doing, he was down to business though. He wasn't doing bad. But I do think Merch's character also really touched in on that adult friendship thing that I feel like is the least talked about topic in all of the podcast bros, is this adult friendship and growing with people. And I feel like Merch really was tired from the way everyone treated him, his wife, his friends, whatever, but didn't say anything. And then he wanted to act up. And I think a lot of people are either the side that are disrespecting people and not reading the room, or the side that are Merch and are being disrespected and being mistreated and not saying anything.
Right.
If you're either or, pay attention. I think sometimes I'm more on the side where I say things and I upset people and they don't tell me. And then I get mad when they mad later. And it's like, you ain't saying nothing.
Typical Sagittarius.
I'm gonna push back a tad bit on that Seaway, just a little bit. Merch did say some things. He's throughout the movies, and especially that second movie, he did say a few things, like how y'all treat me, how it made me feel, this and that third. They played it for a laugh, and we didn't take it seriously. Or at least his boys really did. It was just Merch.
A lot of people got disrespectful friend group. And they got disrespectful friend group, and then all of a sudden they want to be sensitive. Believe me, I'm in one, and I think sometimes you get older, you get a little bit more sensitive. You think you're not. You think you're going to get tougher. A lot of times you get more sensitive, and you got to be more vocal. Like, hey, I know I used to laugh about this when I'm 20, but now I'm 35, now I'm 30, now I'm 40, and it's not funny to me anymore. I think you have to be clear, because that'd be the part that don't be fair. If it was funny 20 years ago, people may not know that it's not funny to you now.
Or it wasn't funny then.
It wasn't funny then, but you just didn't have the self-awareness. You didn't have the life experience to see how things played out, right? Because I don't think as Merch was merching, you know, in his early 20s, he didn't realize how being just so passive is really can be detrimental, right? So before he was like, listen, guys, I'm just sensitive. It's okay. Leave me alone. That's who I am. And then you look back and you see life decisions. You see how people treat you at work. You see how people treat you in friendships. You see how your family treats you. Then you kind of step back and you realize, oh, you know,
like, I'm tired of being a hoe. I'm a grown man. It'd be like that kid. Like, I am a grown man. Y'all not gonna keep hoeing me. I felt him. I felt like he was getting hoed everywhere he went. And I
just gonna keep saying the word now. It's like the little kid that gets one it works. Ho ho ho! Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
That's also my favorite word.
Oh my God!
It is low-key my favorite word. I'm not gonna lie to you.
I mean, that was another strong point too. That it made a talking point that sometimes with our friend groups, we have to communicate, like Sean said. Even with this is a relationship, and it is a different form of relationship. But sometimes we got to be 100 with our friends, and just tell them like, hey. I don't like certain things you do when it comes to me. I don't like the way you make me feel. I don't like the way you take advantage of me as a friend. I don't like the way you say these things. And it is okay because a true friend will sit here and listen to you and make the necessary changes.
Agreed.
It's interesting you said
You
that.
know,
They made sure to
and if they
make
don't want to make those changes,
it's interesting you said that. They made sure to make Harper the focal point of all of his, you know, some of his anger issues. You know, the rest of the guys, I think they started to pay attention a little quicker and sooner. And they really wouldn't own merch like that they usually are, but they wrote it in a way to make Harper the focal point because of the movie that was coming out and everything. You know, merch. I don't know if it's fair or not. I do think some of it need to be pointed towards Harper, but you know, all of it wasn't that fair. That vitriol he pointed towards him, I was like, okay, you got a
but
point,
you
but
remember he kind of got some out with Q in Holiday. You know, that whole
yeah,
car fight scene that they had, you know, it was Q picking on him then or whatever. No Tiger Paw. No Tiger Paw.
monkey paw, monkey paw.
You know, they had their whole little fight scene right there and that. And so, you know, last person up as usual to read the room is Harper. You know, Harper is so self-centered and into himself that outside of trying to mend and keep good graces with Lance, he doesn't really pay attention to
He
everybody else.
don't. He really don't.
And I
He
think
really
that's
don't.
more so fear because he don't want to get pushed over a balcony.
And you know, Q live up there. He
So
live
that
up
fear
the
keeps
floor.
him in check. He's like, whoa. He's like, I want to talk to you. He made sure to tell Lance in public about the movie and all of that.
I gotta figure out a way to break it to Lance.
Down a good
gotta
6
figure
to
out
8
a way.
feet.
We gotta talk to Lance about this.
There ain't no
I gotta
balconies
figure out
here.
a way to
Okay.
do it.
All right. Cool.
And I think that's the danger. I know we were talking about it on Discord a little bit about who's like what. And I think the danger with Harper's character is the fact that on the surface, he seems like the guy just trying to do the right thing, right? A father trying to build for his daughter, a husband trying to build and expand and grow his career, but he leaves people in the wake, right? And the nice guy is not always a good guy, right? And sometimes his character is in question. Whether it's this ongoing relationship with Jordan that seems to just never have an end, right? They always circle back to each other, and that's a danger, right? To his selfishness in the way that he moves. So I think, and it's so funny now that the group knows enough, they can be like, nah, you're wrong. That's why they all kind of got on him when, Mia wanted to, not Mia, what's Harper's wife's name? Robin wanted to move to Ghana. They were like, no, bro, you might need to let her go because you've done a lot. Mm-hmm. So very, very interesting, his character where, most people wouldn't be like, oh, he's the most toxic person, but he's caused a whole lot of problems and then turns around and want to write about it.
Again. I wonder what this Bumper G series is about.
That's one argument that whenever Sean say that I just got shut up. I can't say nothing. This fool wrote about it. This fool actually decided to write about it. I got nothing for you. I got nothing for you.
Right with that, you want to sit here and write you on your deathbed.
From literally, the book of Mia.
You want to create your deathbed by writing about it.
From the book of Mia, take it to the grave unless you have to talk about it for the
Mia
was
never gonna tell you. She even came at you like it never happened. Like, oh, Harper, hey, honey. Hey.
She was like, that was what it was. We gonna move on.
She was like, that was you? Oh.
Here, here go Mia. Here go Mia to Jordan. Here go Mia to Jordan.
I read your book. It was cute.
Here go Mia to Jordan. He gave me what I needed. He was a gentleman. And I always love him for that. Mm-hmm. I was like, is she serious? Is she
Like,
serious?
yes, I am serious.
Wow. I was like, yo, Mia is something else. Mia is something else. I'm sitting there
It got
looking the first
it got
movie. I'm
Jordan
like,
intrigued. It got Jordan intrigued. Jordan was like, "Oh,
and
what you mean?"
you know what? Maybe we can
I
blame
want
Mia
to
for
find
that too.
out.
Blame Mia for that too. Jordan all like, you know what? Revisionist history. Now she want to find out, man. Maybe I should have. I'm like,
But
wow,
had he
it's
not
all
wrote
Mia
this
fault.
history book, nobody would have been thinking about it.
If he
He
hadn't
want
have
to
wrote
write the history
anything, it was a good book though.
book.
It was a good book though. Hey,
Made it into a movie.
hey,
It's the gift
hey.
that keeps on giving.
Mm, mm.
All
Yeah,
right,
dude.
and my last moments because I do have to get to my sisters. I'm gonna cook some things for them, but I want to know what you guys would have rate this series from a 1 to 10, 10 being the highest, 1 being the least. What would you give this as a rating? What'd you say, Trey?
9.6.
Now, how we get a 9.6?
9.6.
You got to be the oddball of it.
9.6.
You don't just do a
There's always,
9.5 nothing.
I mean, like we said this evening, there's a few things that I wish they would have touched on more and maybe got to or expelled upon. But for the most part, I think this is just a perfect example of how to write continual characters over a period of years. They grow. They grow with you. These characters is weird how they kept them the same. They kept them their core persons individually, but you can tell how the patches of years has affected them and
Mhm.
changed who they are for the future. That's just good direction, good writing.
Definitely that. What you say, Seaway?
I'm gonna get a 7.5 because let me tell you why. The character development, everything was great, but because they're saying that this may be the end, I don't feel like it wrapped up properly. And I think, if this is not the end, then I would give like an 8.5. But if this is the end, I'm giving it a 7.5 because I don't think it wrapped up. It's giving like Girlfriends. And we've been 10 years, 15 years later, still wanting some closure. I don't think it gave the proper closure.
I dig it.
Yeah. So
What you say, Sean?
I'm somewhere between an 8, 8.5, and a 9. Somewhere in that range. You know, I love to see, how everybody's relationships evolved. I like the different themes in the sense of real life things that we all can relate to, how relationships evolve and develop, how people find their voice, all of those things that are real. And I like that. And it was good quality. I thought it was really good quality production, good quality writing, um, good quality acting. Because I done got so used to watching us as people on Tyler Perry that now when you see us outside of Tyler Perry and outside of the own environment, it's like, oh, look at this, a whole series, with full acting and development and things like that. And no disrespect to Tyler Perry, he's a billionaire, and doing well in his own right. But it's nice to see a different spectrum, a different side of things. So, and to Seaway's point, the reason why they don't get a 10 for me is because I want more. I feel like we were left hanging a bit. So if there's nothing else coming, then yeah, it's definitely closer to the 8.5. But if this was it, I want more.
Yeah, I agree. I'm on an 8.5 level. I definitely would give like a 10 to the writing and acting from day one all the way to now because this has been a very good saga going on. But the 8.5 is because I want more. I can't give you a 10. I don't feel satisfied. Like I need more of what's going on with these characters. How did we get here in some places of some of the characters? More development with a few other people going forward. But I don't want to take away from what they have created so far. I just want more. I need more. So I don't care if it's not on Peacock. I will go whatever. I will apply for any other subscription if I don't have it already, so I can actually see more. But I'm not mad at it being on Peacock because I already got y'all already. So if y'all go ahead and pick them up for another season, we'll be more than glad to watch it again. Trust and believe. This casting, I'm gonna give Robbie Reed again a 10 for casting this whole crew together because she did a very great job of doing that. We would never have these people in 1999 if she didn't do this. And so I think between her and Malcolm, they did a very good job of putting everything together that now we're here like over a decade later, still talking about this. So any final thoughts on it or anything that you guys want to share before we get out of here? Let the people know where they can find you. Before we get there, please like, share, and subscribe to the channel if you guys haven't already. We are back in action. Of course, we're going to be back in January with all the good shows. They coming back. What is this? We back in Miami for what's them people who
Ready to love,
ready to love,
ready to lie,
ready to lie, ready to lust, ready to do something but get together and have a relationship. Yes.
ready to hope. I see what it was saying.
I'm here for the drama. I just love watching the drama. I don't take it seriously. I just
we got
watch
Love
it.
and Marriage DC coming back in January. We also got well, this is for me because I like growing up hip hop, and that's coming back. And Child, Egypt is pregnant. I done seen the clip already. Jesus.
Oh God, I can't. I had to divest from that because that's just stressful. That's not good for my mental health. So I had to let them go 2 years ago.
Yeah.
We got Snowfall in February.
Snowfall coming back. So we got
The
all the
final.
shows coming back. Yes, and that's
Power.
another. That's what's killing me right now. Everything is on their final season. So
Power for me.
we'll be back.
What'd you say,
Kojo will
Trey?
be back.
Power for me.
Oh,
Power.
Power. Oh man.
So all the shows is coming back. Kojo will be back soon. So, but if you guys haven't, we are always on Discourse. If you guys want to join us, the link is in the description below, which is Little Black Book on Patreon. Y'all join him on Patreon. Y'all get that link to Discord. Y'all can mess around with us and have our great debates, discussions, feuds, whatever we be doing up in there. We be having a good time. Yeah, but we be talking about all these shows plus more on like Netflix and everything else.
Wednesday. What?
Wednesday. If you guys, you know what we
That's
need
a
to
good
do,
show.
Sean, we can go ahead and break that down whenever you ready and stuff. Because January
I'm
gonna be
ready.
slower,
Say the
so we
word.
can get back into it. So we can
That
get
was a
ready
good
for
show.
next season.
That was a good show.
I'm gonna have to get on my HOD, which is House of Dragon. So I'm into that. So, but
Yeah.
yes, we are
You
back.
don't want to start that conversation.
Oh, Trey, if you with the House of Dragon, I'm with the House of
Listen,
Dragon.
girl,
Jay,
I'm
let's shout out
reading.
to Trey, who says, I don't ever get on. I'll be in the comments. Yo, he was on with the quickness. I was surprised when I liked it. I'm like, Trey is up here. What?
Trey say we ain't gonna sit here and let him be about let stand all day long
No,
without
you're calling me a Lance apologist. What? No. He's an F boy. We know what he is. But when he was married, he was a good husband and a devoting father.
He
When
was.
he ain't married, hey, ho, 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 Merry Christmas.
He a free.
Ho, 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 Merry Christmas. This is what it is. You know what you get. But you lock him down, he's going to be the best husband for you. Just what it is.
Man he could be. Shout out to that soundtrack.
QRL. Let's go. But we can do this House of Dragon. I'm a book reader personally, so yeah, I get deep in it.
I haven't read those books, but I've read the Game of Thrones books, so we can go.
Okay. Oh yeah, we can go. We can talk about some things.
We might see for y'all. But yeah, y'all got anything? I got y'all information down in the Trey. Yours the only one I don't have down in the description. So if you want to tell the people where they can find you, if you want to be found.
You find me in the chat. I be sneaking around.
It's Trey Mac 26 in the chat.
I be sneaking around, try to support my brothers and sisters up here because I enjoy the conversations and I enjoy looking at their faces, see them smile, see Sean and Jay argue all the time like they blood sisters, brothers and sisters and stuff. It's nice, see Ray chime in, try to give people the business. Especially when her finger go up, she do this. I was like, oh, here we go.
Y'all gotta follow her on TikTok. Hello, TikTok.
Whenever the finger do this, I was like, oh, here we go. About to be something. But I think for the last year or two, I've been really enjoying y'all. When I came across Kojo's channel and everything, I was like, this seems cool. I'm gonna pay attention to this and see what's going on. And I have thoroughly enjoyed myself. I wish I could have met y'all in Atlanta. I really wanted to come to that, but I was out. So
we had a good time.
Kojo planning 2023. So you just make sure you get your stuff. We're gonna be back at it. But yeah, we got our own. We need Peacock to pick us up. And we can have our own Best Man series because we definitely got some stories amongst us.
It's gonna be a whole mess
in real life. And don't get me on no tequila, please.
No Patron for this one. No Patron.
They already know I ain't going nowhere without Jay. So if Jay ain't coming, I ain't coming.
Yeah, you're not allowed to go by yourself no more.
Oh Lord, no.
Oh no.
Not the C-Ray Chronicles. Wait a minute. Hold on. This sounds interesting.
We're traveling in pairs, so I'm staying at home.
She said me and Kojo are in a safe space. That's what she's trying to say. We're not a safe space. She need backup.
She gotta be Shelby with them. She gotta be Shelby with y'all.
Exactly.
Wow.
JB getting the phone calls. Can you believe?
I gotta be Nia. Like, okay, well, just calm down. Let's just talk about this dance. Let's just talk about it.
I knew Sean wasn't a safe space before I did. When I walked into that Airbnb and he started yelling, "Take my airport shoes off," they was in the comments talking about, "Is this a safe space for Seaway?" I was crying.
Oh, y'all just don't know. Y'all make sure y'all follow us so y'all know when we doing the next one so y'all don't miss this because we had a good time. I'm not gonna lie. It was ups and downs, but we made it around.
But we're rejuvenated now. We're ready to get back.
I'm ready to do this. Everybody.
But you guys can follow me on TikTok. That's where I'm at. Look, I can use the support because them people over there in TikTok are nuts. So I would love some positive stuff in the comments because they're crazy over there. But yeah, you guys can follow me on TikTok. I don't do show reviews, but I talk about trending topics and recently the Tory Lanez trial and stuff like that. So y'all can follow me over there.
Things to talk about. Yeah, I know y'all can find me.
We done wrap this up.
Yeah.
So his daddy though? Oh Lord have mercy.
His daddy
ain't gonna. We're not gonna have to get on that. Y'all on TikTok with that. I ain't got time for none of this. None of this foolery coming out here trying to be somebody's deacon.
Oh Lord mercy.
That man need Jesus for real.
Sean, you want to tell the people?
Oh yeah, y'all can find me on IG, Sean Davis 120. I just joined TikTok thanks to Seaway. I used to just lurk in the bushes, so I'm Sean Davis 1978 on TikTok. And I am trying to figure out, similar to what Jay recently did, is what I want to do in the future of my channel. So once I get that, I'll let y'all know. But those are the two best places to find me right now.
Yeah. And y'all know where to find me. I can find me here on Another Round, as well as Another Round _JS on Instagram. Or if you just want to be so nosy like I know y'all do and be in my personal life, which I ain't posting too much of because y'all nosy, but y'all can find me at The Sexy Tomboy on IG as well. And you know what? It's good catching up back with y'all before the year is out. We're going to get another one of these in. Probably Wednesday. That'll probably be the earliest I can do it. I might be able to get something in Wednesday. If not, sometime later on in the week, later on in the daytime as well, because I'll be working in the morning. But before the year end, we got to get together one last time, probably talk about our year and all that. So maybe the 30th, Friday night, if y'all available, you know, we can get it in and just get ready to bring in another year.
Yeah, I'll probably be in Cali by then. So yeah.
Oh, what the hell? Okay, come through.
I'll be working, but I'll be in Cali by then. I definitely should be in Cali by then.
Okay. All right. Well, yeah. So Friday it is. If I don't see you guys before then, you guys stay up. Thank you guys for joining us again for another round. Peace and blessings to you guys. Love. Bye.